Hello composers, Mike here, and in this video we are going to check out Storm Choir Ultimate Edition. Is this the best epic choir ever? Let's find out. So this is my first live example where I used a string ensemble here from my Flutter Strings, Storm Choir, the performance patch, Ultimate Performance, with everything in one part here. And then violins, horns, and flute for the leading melody. So let's check out how it sounds right now. Right, and to give it more space in the mix, I will mute the solo instruments here so you can hear just the supporting ensemble strings with Storm Choir Ultimate. And by the way, again, this is the Ultimate Performance patch, which is everything in one patch. So a simpler patch basically, but it's super good for playing things right in, right here. And it sounds like this. And you heard those dynamic shiftings, which was of course programmed in here with the modulation wheel for the dynamic crossfading. Now you could of course separate these into men and women in separate patches, which I recommend for the real composition because you get more control. This is the Ultimate Performance patch, which is a simple interface without a proper word builder, but it's quicker and easier to just dive instantly in there and play sounds. And what's good about this, you can see I can play staccato while if I hold the notes, then I can play sustain and staccato patches. Control with the mod wheel the dynamics. And even activate this velocity dynamic influencer, which means both the mode wheel and the velocity on the MIDI keyboard will control the dynamics. Like I can play with the same velocity, but if I play different velocity settings here, if I press this on max, then it will have 6 decibels of dynamic range from the velocity of my MIDI keyboard. Those together I like to use in combination. Now let's check out the second example where I used the Storm Choir Ultimate Men and Women as separated, as you can see here. But not only that, let's see if I load up the men here. You can see that the separate patches, not the Ultimate Performance patch, but the men and women, if I click here and close this down, you have a word builder here. And these are the phrases you can choose from. And then you just build them like so. And you can set certain like staccato or sustain. As I just showed you, even the sustain patches you can play short just by playing the phrases short. But the staccato will of course be even shorter articulations. Now let me increase the BPM to 150 and see how this sounds. It's just drums from Damage, Armageddon Ensemble patch, the Storm Choir Ultimate Men, Women, and then some short strings here from Cinematic Strings 2. And together it sounds like this, playing 3, 2, 1. Alright, so just to make sure you can really hear how epic this can sound and how it can cope with super fast speeds, let's go to 175 BPM and it will still hold up, playing in 3, 2, 1. Right. And by the way, you can see if I go in here that I have some longer phrases here. So depending on if you choose staccato articulation or sustain, I mean, I could put all of these as sustain, and then I could play like so to hold out a marcato or even sustain articulation in the phrase. So those were my two examples, the legato mode here, or sustain mode, and the more action epic type mode with staccato phrases like this. Now let's dive into the interface and take a look at how it is laid out. So first you have the presets here you can choose from, the ultimate performance patch, which I showed you first, this one right here, which you can play. And by the way, I actually forgot to set back the BPM. It's still at 175 and it handled those transitions amazingly well even so. Now let's get back here into the interface. So that is the ultimate performance patch. Then you have the ultimate men patch here, which is where you can build your phrases. So what I like, by the way, is I didn't find any way to load presets. So I mean, you could save presets right here once you have made the phrases, but I would like to have a preset browser inside the interface. I actually prefer that. But anyway, you can start building phrases like this. You can always go back. So let's say you go like this, click the next one, and then you can go back here, scratch. So, for example, here is the first part. And you can deactivate the deca mic and only use the close. To make it even clearer, da, and then da, I don't know, ro. So this can be a great exercise to actually try to build phrases. I don't know what sounds good in this Latin, Slavic, or what is called Slav. Oh, you know, this Latin type phrases. But let's say you have built something up like this. And as you can see, this is still in staccato mode on every syllable. But I can play. As you can hear, it tries to play, it does work. But those syllables start to struggle with those really short articulations. So if you click this and change to staccato like this, like so, you can. However, now if I hold the note, it doesn't get any longer. So if you're making epic music, I personally like to separate these like staccato phrases into one track in my sequencer and for the sustained articulations on another track. But depending on how you like to work, what you could do as well is actually set the syllables. You can see here they are separated by key switches. So if I set, let's see, G0 is the first one, then you can set the second one to like so, and, you know, load a specific articulation with a key switch. I would personally, I don't know, I don't like to perform phrases with key switches that much. I prefer to just build the phrases. But then you can also set, so let's say this is staccato, the first one is sustained. You can see this little arrow at the top here. And that way you might actually want to have an articulation for a key switch on this one. So whenever you need those longer marcato notes or sustains, you can set G1 as the key switch here. You can also program, here is like the attack time. More importantly, of course, for the sustains. And you can set the legato transition speed, fast, medium, slow, per articulation, if I'm correct. I wonder if it's, yeah, you can actually see it here. So if you would slow or the fast tempo there, medium. Okay, so it actually makes a legato into the next one, daro. And I believe you can actually set the timing, how long that is. Let's make it half note. Yeah, so you can set the timing. As you can see, you can go really deep into this and build your phrases to be daro sincataro, whatever that means in Latin. And all right, so this is the advanced phrase builder. And of course, you have the save options here and all these things. But if you click this cogwheel, you get back to this page, which is really important because here you have the mic settings. So closed mic is deca mic and whole mic. This is just the closed mic right now. The deca mic. And you can also set the panning, the level, of course. And let's see, what's this? I think you can route it out. Yeah, you can route it out. And this I really like. So if I... You can set this closer to the mono or out, which sounds... So I like to use the closed mic a bit more in mono and then extend the deca mics or whole mics to the side to get this focused sound in the middle with the epic sound in the left and right. So... Perhaps a bit too wide there, but you get the point. And then you have the whole mics as well. And also you have some advanced settings like agile legato, overlapping notes, release samples, which I really recommend you to use, and some extra reverb. And again, the velocity dynamic influencer here is amazing because it will take into account how hard you press those keys, plus the mod wheel, which will give you way more expression. I believe most libraries should have this setting so you can actually use both. That way you can use the mod wheel for the broader dynamic curve, but then for the accents you can use the velocity levels. All right, so I have now opened up the women version of this preset, which has the exact same layout as the men preset. So once you learn the interface, you can pretty much do the same things in both of these. Of course, the women has a higher range, so... And what I really like is that when you start adding one here, a syllable, you can just keep going like this. Blah, blah, blah. You can always go back and start from scratch. If you make something you like, yeah, I mean, do something like staccato here, staccato there, sustain there, different legato transitions, whatever. You can always save it with this little button here, and it will save to Stonechoir Ultimate here on your drive on your computer, and then you can load it up in a future project or actually in the men patch, so both are synced. That is what I did in this composition I made here. Now, so those are the three main patches, the performance patch, men, women, but you also have some effects, some legatos, and some soloists. So let's load those up first. Just men, whispers, and men effects, and the same for the women. We'll just take the men whispers and shouts first here and play with that. Let's see. Cool. So low. Let's just mute these. Wait, what is that there? Is it just... Okay, so harder dynamic means a shout. Okay, let's add some deca mics. Let's see. Okay, so low dynamics is this super creepy whisper. Then we get some body, and the loudest dynamics is the shout. Sorry about the volume there. Let's do the men effects next. Let's see what cool effects we have. Oh, so these creepy atonal some risers, drones and stuff like that. Okay, so I assume the effects on the women is basically mimicking the men here. So let's continue to the legatos. Okay, so here we have men a legato, o, and so on. You can see it. Let's just try one here and see how it sounds. So the a legato. Okay, let's do the women o legato. I don't know if it's me, but I always love the legato on female choirs because of the higher range, I believe, than the men. I mean, you could do like, let's do the men O legato, but I would probably use it more like as a drone, as a pedal note, like in the bass. Let's do an octave. Okay, so it sounded pretty good there to take that back. So then we have also Soloist. So this was really nice of Stress of Sampling to include, wow, solo alto bass, dramatic profundo bass, which I believe is the lowest bass you can get, mezzo soprano, soprano, lyrical, tenor. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, but let's try the alto solo here. Soloist. Just throw some. Okay, so again, I would hope in a future update from Stress of Sampling that I include some presets for this, because I don't know, I never liked having like a blank presets that I cannot play instantly. It's like be be be. What's that? It's like a sheep. Be 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 be. I want some presets here. So that is one minor little drawback, but let's continue. So we have, unless I missed something in the interface, in that case, I am sorry. Okay, so. Now I hear something that is very interesting, because with solo vocals, when you create these phrases from these syllables, it is even more important than that you use syllables like a chain of syllables that makes sense, because sometimes going from this syllable to this syllable is just doesn't make sense and it will sound pretty strange. So since I'm not a vocalist and don't know this Latin language, I'm not sure, I have to experiment with what syllables will work together, but just to check out the sounds, let's try scratching that, and let's do like ro in staccato, just some ros. No, I like the legato more. So let's just add some up. By the way, I see here that you don't get access to all the syllables in the phrase builder for the soloist, which makes sense because that would have taken insane amount of recording time. And I know they did a lot of recording time in any case for this gigantic choir. I hear something else. Sorry, something else here is you should probably go in and make some slower legato and reduce the note values as well. Okay, so you need to activate that. And create the phrases from scratch like that. Now just to show you the range of these soloists, this is the dramatic bass. Now let's switch out to bass profundo, which is like so low. I'm not even an octave near that range. It can go so low like this. Like the lowest note here is B flat here, right down here. Let's do some Dorn there. Dorn Glo Jun. And let's try that. That's low. So is this the best choir for epic music? Well, I will leave that up to you, but to me, Storm Choir Ultimate really has that epic, super larger than life character, and I will probably use it a lot for these action type choirs. I will leave a link for you in the video description so you can check it out and learn more about it, and I will see you in the next video, my friends.